What is going on, guys and girls? How you doing today? It's Angry Roleplayer here once again, and today we're gonna be talking about Diablo. This is probably the first Diablo video this year, maybe even for the last 2 years. Simply because there were no reasons to do any Diablo videos because nothing has really changed except for more fucking power creep. The numbers got higher and higher and higher. In my last video about quadrupling the numbers is probably one of my most popular Diablo videos. It got about like 100,000 views or something. But this time I want to jump a little bit and talk about this because it really got me interested in a way. This PTR has started is patch 2.6.6, and yes, guys, I'm still watching Diablo. I still know what is happening in the Diablo world, so I'm watching closely. Don't think that I'm just like straightforward playing Path of Exile and just don't give a shit about anything around. I actually watch a lot of things. So what got me interested in this patch was the fact that they actually started reworking very old items. You know, that's kind of weird because these items were introduced like 5, 6, 7 years ago. The game is almost 7 fucking years old, and all of a sudden they started reworking these items and giving them legendary powers. These items literally had no legendary powers, so they just giving the shitty items legendary powers. Like for example, Flavor of Time got pylon FX last twice as long. This is good for the speed farming builds, for example, for the leveling and all this. Executioner attacks will slay enemies with less than 5-10% health. This is basically a cooling strike, right? So especially useful for the bosses when the bosses has boss, for example, can be used in the boss killing scenarios when the boss like has this last 10% and then you just instantly kill him. As a boss killer, I think this weapon has a lot of potential. Stone gauntlets. Getting attack will slowly turn into stone. You gain more armor, but your movement speed reduced and attack speed reduced. This is absolute trash. No one will be using this. Echoing Fury. Slaying enemies engulfs the wielding into a frenzy. Killing enemies increases your attack speed by 15% and movement speed by 5%. Once again, it's a pretty insane speed farming weapon right here. Another thing, Squirt's Necklace. While not taking damage, your damage is increased up to 100% and damage taken is increased by up to 15%. That's pretty fucking insane. I mean, you're doing a lot of damage and then you're also taking increased damage. It's making a fucking glass cannon with retarded amount of damage. I can think about some Tempest Rush build probably with this. I mean, if you spin around and take no, but you know, it's very hard to not take damage in such a retarded density that is currently happening in Diablo 3. And by the way, these sounds that you hear, these are the sounds that my live notifications and Path of Exile trade searches, so don't be scared by them, that's okay. Another thing, Messerschmitt's River, new legendary power. Reduce the remaining cooldown of one of your skills by 1 second when you slay an enemy. Another pretty crazy thing for some whirlwind or cooldown heavy things like the necromancer shit. I don't even remember the skills that are there in the game already because I haven't touched the game for about 2 years. But you know, with this one designed thing that completely boggles my mind is this 2-minute cooldowns. So you introduce the game with 2-minute cooldowns and then you start packing items which reduces the cooldowns. This is shit design, and if this design will transition into Diablo 4, I will not even play it because this is fucking garbage. I mean, the whole rift takes 15 minutes, and then you have a skill that you can use like once in 2 fucking minutes by default. 2 minutes cooldown, man. What kind of fucking retard invented this kind of concept behind cooldowns, which take 2 fucking minutes to recharge. This is ridiculous. And then they started introducing the kind of set bonuses that reduces cooldown by 50, 60, fucking 80% to somehow make this shit viable. And items such as this further makes this fucking shit viable, reducing the cooldown by 1% when you slay an enemy. So for some whirlwind, like fast-paced build, dashing strike, whatever the fuck there is, it can be pretty useful. What surprised me the most is the return of the Mortix Brace. Wrath of the Berserker gains the effect of every rune. If you guys are living in a cave or probably forgot what Mortix Brace is, or possibly have no idea what Mortix Brace is, this item has been introduced in 2014. That's 5 years ago, I think, right? 5 years ago, this item was introduced in the PTR patch 2.2. Yeah, this was a long time ago. It was the second patch after the Reaper of Souls expansion. So this item was way ahead of its time. It introduced tremendous amount of power creep into the game. Literally, people were doing like 100 rifts. As far as I can remember, that the numbers were ridiculous. And obviously, the single item completely broke the pace of the game. It was far ahead of its time, and they just completely removed it from the game. This was one of the rare occasions in Diablo 3 when the item was so powerful, they completely removed it from the game, like entirely destroyed. It just stopped dropping from the game. It was crazy. But now that the power creep is there, no one gives a shit, you know, and basically the item has returned. This is such a rare occasion. It has returned after 5 fucking years. Think about it. That's insane shit. They also redesigned the new crafted items. So for example, the Spite gets new legendary power. Non-cleaving gargantuans gain the cleave and chilling effects of the human god rune. This is pretty intense. But the most important thing is this: Legacy of Dreams. This is a new legendary gem. While you have no set bonuses equipped, every legendary item you have equipped increases your damage dealt by almost 4% and reduces your damage taken by 2. And this has Campbell max level 99. So, and this is doubled by the ancient items. That's pretty crazy, guys. That's pretty crazy. Basically, the previous season was the Legacy of Nightmares buff, as you probably know. But the next season, season 18, will be introducing even more diversity. I think it's pretty cool, actually. Basically, the gem gives you more damage if you have no set items, and the more legendaries you have, the more damage you have. And judging by the numbers, I don't know how much damage will be on the 99 level. I don't know the increment of this, but I think the numbers look pretty crazy. And probably this thing will introduce some kind of build diversity even further into Diablo 3. That's interesting. They also changed the crafted sets, like the Sages, the Captain's Crimsons, the Ogle's Authority, further all kind of damage reduction. It's basically just power creep, the numbers. Power creep, power creep, power creep. So that's it. This is where it ends, guys. This is where it ends. And the whole season theme will be about, where is it? Where is it? Whole season theme. Season 18, Season of Tryon. Tryons will, all abilities have a chance when hitting an enemy to spawn a circle that gives a power. Only one circle can be active at a time. Power players in the circle receive 100% damage bonus while active. Players in the circle receive a 50 discount on resources spent and cooldown reduction as well. Any skills currently on cooldown come off on cooldown more quickly. This is pretty crazy. It's like a shrine or a circle or the monk I forgot the fucking skill in the monk. This is like a fucking circle that debuffs and buffs whatever the fuck there is. So it's like a circle of buff and debuffs, mostly like a buff, guaranteed buff for yourself and the allies. And it's actually pretty cool. It's like a random spike of power creep for your character. Overall, I think that Season 18 is probably the first season that is not directly a power creep and that actually introduces something new to the game, which is fucking 7 years old, guys. Remember this. The game is 7 years old, and for the first time in God knows how long, is actually something new. They actually took these items and reworked them in giving them the legendary powers. I totally did not expect this. I mean, the game is old, no one gives a shit, everyone's playing Path of Exile, and then someone there in Diablo, they still care. They still want to push this game forward after 7 years. I don't know if the game is still selling in any way. They probably sell on Switch, I guess, right? So on and on. The conclusion to my rant is that I'm honestly surprised that they are still caring about the game, which is good. I totally support this. Unfortunately, I will not be playing Diablo 3 because adding a couple of legendary powers will not get me into the game, because you know, I've explored pretty much everything. I could probably get a couple more builds out of this, but that's about it. I just don't want to grind this fucking paragons and fucking augments and a fucking boring shit that is Diablo 3. And I just want to compete with bots. Like I said, bots were the reason why I quitted Diablo 3, not the power creep even, not the farming paragons. Fucking bots is why I quit it, and I don't know what's happening now. I'm pretty sure there's like bot fest, like 100% bot fest, guys. So if you want to get into Diablo 3, then possibly the next season is the most interesting. For me personally, from my point of view, I think the next season is pretty damn good. So that's what my thoughts on the meta, guys. Take care and see you soon. First of all, I would like to thank you very much for watching the video. Your likes and dislikes, especially, as they push me forward even more. If you want to see more content, please consider subscribing to the channel. I do daily uploads of role-playing content, be it builds, guides, let's play, stream highlights, and upcoming RPG games. Also, don't forget to follow my Twitch stream to catch me live in action. I do stream daily on working days. I'm a full-time YouTube content creator and a Twitch streamer too, so if you want to support me, you can do it either from Twitch or by PayPal directly from my website, angryroleplayer.com. Join my Discord channel too for a place to discuss RPG things offline, as well as follow my Twitter to be notified on any new content. If you want to get extra information like sneak peeks into upcoming videos, plans, different behind-the-scenes footage, you can also join the Unholy Army on Patreon as well, guys. Thank you very much once again for watching, listening to all this. See you soon.